All right, guys, we're back for another new series. I feel like this is all I'm doing these days. Just I've been so busy, dude. Probably one of the busiest like 3 weeks of my life. But yeah, so NBA Sportsdeck. If you know me, you know that like my favorite sport is basketball. So you know this was kind of like a no-brainer. Tried it last year, just couldn't find time to keep it in my schedule, to be quite honest. But yeah, we'll go over the team. Season starts tomorrow, so did kind of leave this late, but like I said, I've just been flat out busy. Work, finishing uni, graduated now, or I'm in line 2, but you know, is what it is. So yeah, the league code, if I've got this working properly, should just be that side on the graphic up the top. That's a league code that me and a couple of mates are using. Feel free to join. You know, again, you're not forced to. Like the NFL one, which that one, the same thing happened as this last year. Ran out of time. Like, I just don't have enough time in the week to look at it. I watch a couple of the games, but that's just because of I've got the time to do that, you know, as I'm getting ready. Just starting off with the guards. Steph, I feel like this is kind of a no-brainer pick. There are better point guards, definitely. I like Ja this year. I like I've got the schedule here. If you know anything about Sportsdeck and how like this works, a score comes from a week's worth of games. Not every team plays the same amount of games in that week. So yeah, some teams will play 3 games that week, so that gives you 3 games worth of score as your total score. What you're looking for is teams that play 4 games. Sometimes there's 5, like there's probably like about 6-7 teams that play 5 games a year, 5 games a week a year. So you're looking for 4 games. Steph has a couple of those early on. So Golden State, week 2 is a 4-game week. Then he has a back-to-back 3-game week, and then you're on to a back-to-back 4. So I like that schedule. Plus Golden State, I think, are in the running for a back-to-back. So yeah, I don't think they're going to rest Curry, because I don't think their backup guard is that good. They did lose Gary Payton Jr., who was like kind of subbing in. Like in terms of the regular season, he can play behind Curry, but in the playoffs, they were playing kind of together. So yeah, I like Curry here. There's a lot of other players I like. I like Trey. Actually, maybe not. I want to see how he goes with DeJounte first. And plus, he hasn't got 4 until week 4. So it's a bit tough. There's no Boston guards. Brogdon could be good, but it's not one that I'd stake on. I'll just have a look off screen, see what his price is. Brogdon's 11 million. For the extra 2, I'd just go for Steph. Brooklyn's playing 2 week 1. Otherwise, Kyrie could be a consideration, or Simmons. Simmons is good as a triple-double threat. More stats on the stat sheet equals better points, like better Sportsdeck points. Charlotte, you got LaMelo, who was in my team until he got hurt. Chicago, they haven't really got a point guard at the moment, unless you want to take a shot in the dark on Io. Cleveland, Garland is there, but he's still kind of unproven. He had a great year last year, but you know, waiting to see a little bit more from him. Plus, Mobley's out early on. The Garland and Mobley pick and roll was huge last year. Dallas, you got Doncic if you really wanted to go that way. I think he's just a slight bit too expensive. You could fit him in if you built the team around that, of course, but I'm just not doing that right now, even though Luke is like one of my favorite players to watch. Denver, Jamal's coming off an injury. I'd like to give that a bit of time to see how he adjusts to it. Then brings us to Detroit, who is the second point guard here. We've got Cade. I think Cade has everything set up for a breakout year this year. The team's not amazing, so I'm not expecting like some top 5 point guard in the league type of breakout or anything like that. You could even say like, yeah, he's already at what a breakout could be. I think across the board his stats are going to go up. Shooting last year was a bit hit and miss. I'd imagine in the postseason he'd be working on that. He doesn't strike me as someone that's lazy, so I'd imagine he's working on his shooting. There's a couple other guys in the team this year. Ivy's good, who is the backup point guard here. He looks like a good slasher. He needs to work on his shot. And then they also drafted Duran, who we'll get into later, but I'm not too high on him. But yeah, I think Cade is kind of set up for a breakout year this year. Plus, he does have a good schedule. So for Detroit, it is first week is only 3, then second week is 4, then 3, then 4, then 4, then 4. So you got in the first, like, say, 6 weeks, you got about 4 weeks worth of 4-game weeks. It's a lot of numbers. You just kind of get into the rhythm of it. If that, I might find a way to post a link to a website that has this as like a spreadsheet, web sheet, whatever they call it. And just, it looks like an Excel document. I have it off to the side here for me. I just spoke about Ivy before. He should start. I don't see any competition at the shooting guard position, which he is. He's a shooting guard. Unless that, the Cade was drafted as a 2 guard that plays point. I'd imagine they just go Cade, Ivy. I don't know who their small forward is now that they lost Jeremy Grant, but yeah, I'd imagine there's room there for Ivy to start. If he can just work on his shot, he'll be good. He's already a good enough slasher for today's NBA. His free throw percentage also needs to go up a little bit. Jalen Brown. This is kind of like a pod pick. I wonder if, I don't think I can bring up his thing on the side, but he can't be that owned. I think last time I looked, it was about 6%, 7%. That's fine with me, like I last year he opened the season with a 46-point game. Kind of did tail off at the end of the year, but he also got hurt throughout the season. I think he had 2 big injuries. The second one kind of took him out for a bit longer. But no, I like Jalen as a pick here. Especially just for the start of the season. This isn't like set and forget. If you can see up on the top of the thing there, 74 trades over 24 weeks, I believe it is. 24 weeks. So you can actually just make 3 trades a week, but you have got boosts. That's where, like, you do have to plan slightly, but not too much, to be honest. So yeah, I don't think Jalen's too bad of a pick. Little underrated. Celtics do have a little bit of like an expectations to them now. They did make the finals. But I believe the last couple of years has been a like runner-up hangover. Miami slumped after they made the finals, but you could argue they shouldn't have made it. The Suns had their, like, they didn't really, like, they had a good regular season, then slumped in the playoffs. So there is the potential for that, plus the Ime Udoka situation, which I still don't fully understand. But yeah, I like Jalen. I probably like Jalen a bit more than I like Tatum. That's just because I think Jalen's a bit of a smarter player. Then next we got Sexton. So this one, I'd imagine the normal average NBA viewer wouldn't just go, oh yeah, I'm going to pick Colin Sexton for my team. This one is a multitude of things. One is Utah is not good this year. Let's just throw that out the window, like put that on the board here. They aren't good. They are clearly, like, there is a clear intent here. They are tanking for the number 1 pick. And that's fine. That's a legitimate strategy. It's helped teams win before. If teams didn't tank for LeBron, then the Cavs wouldn't have came close to the finals. And then later on, when he comes back, wins it. So tanking for the number 1 pick is like a legitimate strategy. As much as the NBA hates it, and I don't like it because I don't like seeing bad teams, they're tanking. But because they're tanking, their roster is kind of thin. Sexton is a good scorer. He was a good scorer last year before he was hurt. Before he was hurt, I thought he was in the race for most improved player. I didn't think he was going to win it, but I thought he was in the race for it, like an honorable mention or something like that. And then Sexton's skill is good enough to kind of just be a good player on a bad team. He was for a long time in Cleveland. Plus, Utah's opening schedule is this: week 1, 3 games; week 2, 4; week 3, 4; week 4, 4; week 5, 3; week 6, 4; week 7, 4. That's a lot of 4-game weeks. I'll take that. You know, that's also why I've got another player from Utah. I'll get into that in a minute, but yeah, I think you can kind of load up on Utah players if you're picking smart. I wouldn't go for a Conley. I mean, you could, but I wouldn't. He's a little bit older, so there's a little bit of an injury consideration there. Other than that, yeah, it's not that many people, honestly. Gobert's usually good from Utah, but obviously he's not there anymore. Then on the bench, we got, I don't know how to really pronounce the name, I'm going to be honest. I think it's Mathurin. It's Benedict, I know that. He looks good. He's a guard for the Pacers. He had a very good preseason. I think he had a 24 or 27 point game, was one or the other. And yeah, he just looks good. He looks like a comfortable shooter, which, you know, that's good. I'll take it. And I've got kind of notes here. There's a potential for a Buddy Hield trade. You know, like it's been spoken about a lot. I don't know if it's going to go through. I'm a Lakers fan. I should get the cap down, but I am a Lakers fan, so I keep up with them. The Westbrook to Indiana for them to buy him out and send him to whatever team he wants to go to. That is on the table still, from what I've heard. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if any team really would agree to buying out Westbrook's contract, seeing it's so big now. But yeah, if Buddy does get traded, that probably does leave Benedict here for like an opening for the starter job. Probably something like him, Halliburton, Miles Turner would probably be traded as well. I don't know who their backup is now. But yeah, you know, there's a bit of an opening there. So then onto the center position. This one is also, I'm not seeing him picked that often. I think he has about a 12% pick rate, something like that, is Rudy Gobert. So this pick, it kind of does start my strategy for the first 2 rounds, or 2 weeks. I guess you could call them rounds. It probably makes it easier for an AFL fan to understand. So his opening schedule, not so much in terms of 4-game weeks and stuff like that, even though he does have a couple of them. So game week 2 is a 4-game week, and then game week 4 is a 4-game week. It's more so just the competition here. He's got the Thunder and he's got the Jazz early on. So Jazz is going to be a revenge game. Thunder are tanking again. Plus there's no Chet there. Plus there's no Derek Favors there, who's actually like okay defensively for him last year. There's really no one there that can guard a big man. So I think that in the opening games, he could just go crazy for a score. And then the plan is, honestly, week 2, I swap him out. He's only here for 1 week. You could say that just start the player that you were going to put there. But, so the idea here is I swap Rudy, and we'll get onto it later, Embiid for Giannis and KD. Mainly because of schedule, and then Giannis just because he's that good. He's probably going to win another MVP, to be honest. Yeah, I like Gobert. Last year he was very good. Just, yeah, Utah, say what you will, you know, they won't give... Donovan was taking a lot of shots, okay? I'll say that. I'm a big Donovan Mitchell fan, but he was taking a lot of shots. And then on the bench, we've got Walker Kessler, who just... Hopefully he plays. I think he should be their starting center. Not too sure on that. Honestly, I don't know the Jazz roster up, you know, like top to bottom. I'd imagine he's their starting center, though. I just haven't heard much. Then on to the forwards, we've got Levine here. Levine kind of is just like, I like the player pick. But also, like, the Bulls schedule's good. So week 2 and 3 are 4-game weeks for Chicago. I've been kind of tossing in between like Levine and DeMar as a pick, especially because there's no point guard there now. Lonzo's out for at least 8 weeks, likely the season, but I've heard like, it could be like 6 to 8 weeks, could be 8 to 12 weeks. Let's just say it's 8 weeks. That's a lot of time for someone to have to step up and run some point guard duties. Levine, I think his like career average is like about 3 to 4 assists a game. DeMar's is probably a little bit higher. I do like DeMar as a playmaker a little bit more than Levine. And DeMar just had that stretch last year. It was about, say, like 5 to 6, 7 games where he was just on fire. It was like 40 points a game type of stuff. Like there was actual like comparisons to Jordan, even though like, no one's comparing DeMar DeRozan to Michael Jordan, but like statistically there was a comparison. So, you could probably just pick either of them. I'm just going to Levine because he's a bit younger. And when it comes to like that, I do kind of go on the younger side because of the injury possibility. And then the next one, I did bring him up a little bit before, Lauri Markkanen. So I don't know how many people were keeping up with it, but in the Eurobasket League postseason tournament, so in Europe, it's like a World Cup. Think of it as like Basketball World Cup, but not the actual Basketball World Cup. Just a bunch of European teams playing each other in a small tournament. Luka was there, Giannis was there, and Lauri Markkanen was there. Lauri Markkanen was insane there. Like he was putting up some very, very good numbers on very good efficiency against, from what I've heard, was good opposition. Like good European opposition. I don't know how good NBA-wise they are, but like, good European competition. So on a team where there's no competition at forward, like they traded the only forward that could compete with him in Bogdanovic. I like this pick here. Honestly, I do. I'd imagine he gets a lot of shots. It's just like standing in the corner and you get to shoot. Between him and Sexton, I imagine is most of the shots on the team, and I imagine they're both starting. I imagine like their lineup is Conley, Sexton, somebody, I don't know who their small forward is now, Markkanen, and then Kessler. Like I'd imagine that's their lineup. But again, I don't know. I don't know the Jazz players. I'm gonna be honest with you. Clarkson also off the bench could start, but I doubt it. He's like a prototypical what you want as a six man. Next we have Jay Williams. He fit under the cap. That's all. I'd like to have Keegan Allen, Keegan something. The Kings small forward rookie. Keegan something. Damn, I can't remember his name. I have to look him up. Keegan Murray, that's his name. All right. I think Keegan Aiken is a NFL player, or was. Yeah, he should play. He had an all right preseason. Hopefully he plays. That's all I hope for. Even if he doesn't play, I'll just use him as a donut, whatever. Embiid, like I said, I think Embiid is in for an MVP season. If there was a year for Embiid to win the MVP, it would probably be this one. I don't imagine his situation getting much better. Harden is getting older. I'm pretty sure just at this point, Houston Harden is gone. Like that is not that player anymore. And that's fine. Everyone ages. You can't beat Father Time unless you're LeBron James. That's fine. Whatever. He's only got so much time with Tyrese Maxey, with Tobias Harris, who, does he deserve his contract? No, but he does do a bit for the team. He spaces the floor when he decides to. The team could be better around him, but this is probably the best he's going to get for a while, especially with Doc Rivers. I'm not a fan of Doc Rivers coaching, but it is what it is. Plus, I brought this up before. Embiid and Gobert are almost definitely becoming KD and Giannis. So Gobert would become KD through a swap, and then Embiid would swap with Gobert, and he'd become KD. But become Giannis, because Giannis has power forward and center dual position in Sportsdeck. Probably should be small forward, power forward, but I'm fine with center. And then the final two here, we've got the rookie Bencaro, Polo Bencaro, whatever. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I know even the commentators struggle to pronounce his name. He plays for the Magic, honestly. Yeah, he should be good. Magic are never that great of a team that it makes the rookies struggle. And then Cole Anthony's actually not too bad. He plays for a bad team. But I actually think Cole Anthony's all right. And then Jalen Duren, who I said before, I don't know if he starts because Isaiah Stewart looked all right towards the end of the season. Looked like Isaiah Stewart was kind of putting together a 3-point shot. I don't know if they're actually going to continue with that. Detroit have a bad history of making big men shoot threes and it kills their career. Duren, maybe he'll play. I'd imagine later in the season he'll start for the team. But yeah, that's about it, honestly. I just wanted to go through the team. Other plays you could look at here. Okay, we'll just go back to this. Atlanta, not really anyone. Boston. Now that I'm looking at Boston's schedule, maybe I won't go with Brown. Maybe I'll find someone else. Houston, I don't really like anyone. Jabari Smith was a little tempting because he had a good preseason, but not enough for me to pay for him. I think he was about $4 million, so he was a bit higher than Duren. Indiana, Halliburton looks good. Halliburton's kind of a stat sheet stuffer type player. And I just imagine he's in complete control of the offense this year. So I do like the Halliburton pick. I just like the pick of Cade. And then my pick of Jalen, I like that more than Halliburton. Nothing against Halliburton. I actually really do like watching Halliburton play, but it's just I like those picks a bit more. The Clippers are an interesting one here. So I did have PG in the team for a while. Paul George is one of my favorite players, even if I can't stand him sometimes. It's just they have a history of taking the injury games off. They call them load management. I call it pick and choose your fights. You just don't want to play against the Kings on a back-to-back. That's whatever. It's resting, right? It's not load management. It's just rest games. There's no reason for him to play against the Kings on a Wednesday night in a 3-game back-to-back. That kind of does hit Kawhi a little bit more because of the injury history. But yeah, it does hit PG. Memphis, like I said, Jar's in for a good year this year. I completely buy into Jar being a Derrick Rose level player as long as his body can hold up. Jaren Jackson, I don't buy into as much. I think that he is slowly getting exposed. Not as a terrible player, but not as I think he was number 2 pick overall. I don't think he should have went that high. Miami, I do like Jimmy. Jimmy's pretty historically good in Sportsdeck. It's just there's better options. I'll just have a look at Jimmy's price. What do we got? It's 13. So if you didn't like Levine, you have an extra $1 million, you can definitely go to Jimmy. I've actually got a Jimmy Butler jersey that I do like Jimmy. Milwaukee, you could start Giannis week 1, but you do have to know that he's playing a 2-game week, which is he's one of the few teams that does play 2, so you are at a disadvantage. But coming out this morning as of recording, Chris Middleton is out for the first couple of weeks. So Giannis is just going to shoot every single shot. But then also the teams are just going to build the wall around him. So just pick and choose. Minnesota, I did have D'Angelo Russell in the team for a while. I did have Anthony Edwards in the team for a while. And I haven't had Karl Anthony Towns, but I feel like he's a good pick. It's just I haven't been able to build a team that can fit Karl Anthony Towns in. D'Lo, I saw a stat at the end of the season last year where it said he had the most statistical gains from pick and rolls, the most assists from pick and roll, or most assist or points from a pick and roll in the league, which was a bit surprising. I thought it'd be Chris Paul, but yeah. So in a team that has Gobert now, who's just pick and rolls, like that's his entire gimmick is pick and roll. I don't mind D'Lo, honestly. He's pretty efficient when he decides to be. Other times he can just go like 0 of 6. New Orleans, I did like Zion. I had Zion in the team. I love the idea of Zion being a good player in the NBA. But he hurt his ankle again. And like this is repeated foot, ankle, knee injuries. He has to like prove it to be in the team now. New York, I do like Brunson, but 2 games week 1, I don't really want to buy into that. And plus, I want to see how they play first. New York is New York. OKC, they're tanking, but Shea's good. Shea's the only one I'd really consider there. Giddey a little bit, but maybe it's just because of like I hear too much about Giddey. I'm not a fan of him. Orlando, yeah, apart from Banchero, I wouldn't really touch anyone else. Philly, Embiid. If you want to take a shot in the dark, I'd say Maxey, but that's about it. Portland, Dame's coming off a pretty serious injury. I wouldn't touch him. Lillard's going to have a good year. Like, I have no doubt in my mind Dame's going to have a good year, but he's coming off a pretty serious injury, and plus their schedule's not amazing to start the season. Sacramento, don't really like anyone there. De'Aaron's cool, but like, yeah, I'd stay away from that team. Sabonis is usually good though for Sportsdeck, but yeah, I'd probably stay away from that team. San Antonio, clear tank job, and no one really looks amazing there. Jakob Poeltl apparently had like a good preseason, but I wasn't watching too much. Toronto, Scotty Barnes should be having a breakout year. Between this year and next year should be a breakout year. Van Vliet's usually all right. He's kind of like an under the radar type pick. Utah went into that. And then Washington, who does Washington even have now? I feel like they got a point guard. I just can't remember who it is. Yeah, I have no idea. Washington, the whole team's like slid my mind. I guess like, what is it? Porzingis, Beal. Yeah, Beal, I guess, you know, like, yeah, Beal can be inefficient. Like, he can have good games, but he can be inefficient. All right, so that's pretty much going over everything. Should expect these weekly. I should be able to find time for it now. But yeah, until then, feel free to comment down below what your team is. If you need any help with the team, there's only a couple hours left, but like, you know, between week 1 and week 2, not much changes. But yeah, I'll see you all next time. Feel free to join the league if you want to. And tasty out.